That was perfect. As soon as I started filming.
No!
She got it. She got it on video.
I promised the Readathon wrap up, and I just have not had time to film it lately, so now I finally can, and let's just go ahead and get into it. And I'll explain what happened for each Readathon while I'm wrapping up each Readathon. So for the biannual Bibliothon, I actually didn't have like a timing issue really. After reading a certain book, I was put in a slump and could not continue reading for the rest of the week. I actually started off pretty well. I finished off my first book, which was Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to Obsidio, which is the third book to that series, but Gemina flew by pretty quick. I was able to read like I think it was over 200 pages in a day, and like I finished it on day one. As for the book itself, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I love Amy and Jay's style for this book, and like how it's not told like a regular book. Like it's told in like emails and texts and video footage and like just all of these really cool things, and I like it's so cool. I love it so much. And the story itself isn't lost within the style, or the format, I suppose it's a better word. The story is still like very clear, and like the plot was so driven, and oh my god, I just didn't want to stop reading. It was so good. I loved it so much. And then I moved on to my next book for the Readathon, which was More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars, I want to say. It was a very good book, but I did have a few problems with it, and I wasn't connecting to it as much as I had hoped, and I know some of it's talked about in my vlog and stuff, but I don't really want to get into it because, you know, I finally read this book, and that's all I really care about at this point, because I've had this book on my TBR for over a year. It was also my pick for the third challenge, which was to read the first chapter of 3 books and then pick one, and I ended up picking this one, and I'm glad I did. I really liked the story. There were some parts where I was just like, other parts where I'm like, huh, that's me. I can relate to that so much. I ended up finishing it in, I think I finished it on day 3. And then I started my next book, which is kind of where the whole thing kind of just like failed for this readathon. The next book I ended up starting was The Wicked Deep, and I never know the author. The point is, I didn't actually finish this book for the readathon. I recently finished it a few days ago. It was really good. I had a lot of things that I wasn't too fond of, and then the ending kind of made it make more sense. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk about this in a review or something, because I feel like this book just deserves a review for me. But I give it a 4 out of 5 stars, and like I said, I really did enjoy it. This was our group book read for the Bibliothon, and like I said, unfortunately, I didn't finish it around the time of the Bibliothon. In fact, it took me 2 more weeks to finally get back to it, because I stopped reading it so that I could start, the book 2-athon TBR that I had, and then I continued reading it once I was done for the most part with that, and which I'm about to get to in a sec. Technically, I finished 2 books out of the 5 that I had planned, and yeah. As for the books that I did not end up reading, I only have A Court of Frost and Starlight for Sarah J. Maas and American Sniper by Chris Kyle. Unfortunately, still haven't read this book, and I've been meaning to read it for a while. And honestly, I'm probably going to get to it at some point during the fall, which is about to start because school starts tomorrow, which, yep. I feel like this is just more of like a little fun read that I could just pick up at any point. And now we're going to move on to my booktubeathon wrap-up, which is technically successful, but at the same time not. You know what, let's just get into it. I'm not really going to say the order of when I read these books because some of the books were read at the same time. I ended up being extremely more busy than I had anticipated I would be. I was working 12 hours a day, every day except for Sunday, and on Sundays I had church, like work, so it was like taking up half my day. So I barely ever had a break, I barely ever had time to read, and honestly, when I did have time, my brain was so like, just exhausted, and my body itself was exhausted, and I felt like I couldn't read. I ended up extending it to the week after, and I kind of counted that more as my like booktubeathon time. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the video challenges, even though I was kind of hoping I would be able to, but I still, like, was so exhausted. Like, the fact that I was even reading at that point was a miracle. I did finish one book for the actual week of the booktubeathon, and that book was with Malice by Eileen Cook. I was really excited to read this book, and then, like, not even 10 pages until the end, something happened to where I just got so mad and frustrated with the main character, knowing that like nothing was going to change from that point because there were only like 10 pages left, and I was like, wait, this is how the book is ending? Are you kidding me? And it just hit me, and like I was not happy about it, and I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5 stars, and because of how just like utterly frustrated I was with the fact that I had gotten so into this book, and then when I finished it, I was not satisfied because of those last 10 pages or so. I ended up going into a reading slump. My mind got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't feel like having this happen to me again, so maybe I just shouldn't read anymore. Like, it wasn't good. Point was, I tried to read so many books after. In fact, I stopped reading all my other books and tried to pick up a book that wasn't even in my TBR. Like, I think it was Zenith or something. I tried to pick that up, and it just wasn't working, and like nothing was working, and I couldn't do it anymore, and it was so annoying, and I was just so mad with the way things end. And honestly, this book kind of gave me like Gone Girl vibes at the end, and I was not happy about that. This completed the second challenge of the readathon, which was to read a book that is about something you want to do or has something you want to do in it. A little bit of this book takes place in Italy. It's more like flashbacks, but it's still Italy. I've always wanted to go to Italy. It's a beautiful place, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on to my redemption booktubeathon. But I will say that there is one book I read that really got me out of my slump and started getting me to read again, which I was so thankful for. And that book was Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertelli. This book pleasantly surprised me so much. I ended up reading it in, I believe, 2 or 3 days. I don't remember when I officially finished it, but I read it pretty quick. And I mean, yes, I listened to the audiobook. I mean, who wouldn't? But that was more just to get into it, and then I kind of like flipped from reading it by myself to listening to the audiobook just so I could get things done around the house and stuff, and it was fantastic. There were so many more things that I could relate to, but more with like the friends and like the situation of what they were going through, and just things that really kept me involved in this book. This book was so easy to read, writing wise and plot wise, just everything. It flowed together so smoothly, and the ending was fantastic. Loved it. I think there were a few things that I wasn't, I mean, like most books, I'll always have like some kind of problem with them, like that I feel like there's no such thing as like a perfect book for me, because I critique so much and like I overthink things and like stuff like that. But I did end up giving this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it that much. It was probably one of my favorite books this year, and I can't wait to see the movie now, and it was just so exciting, and I loved it so much. It would have completed the challenge of reading 7 books, because it was my 7th pick. Unfortunately, I didn't get there, but you know, I still read the book, and I've been meaning to read this for a while. Speaking of books I've been meaning to read for a while, you guys will be very happy to know that I finally read and completed The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Guys, I can't tell you how much I really am, like, just so proud of myself that I finally read this book, and also how excited and pleasantly surprised I was by it, and by the fact that I have the next 2 books in the series, and I'm so excited to start those, and I'm just, oh my god, I love this storyline. I forgot how amazing the world was, and the fact that there were so many different aspects when it came to the Greek history and culture, and then also involving Roman culture in this one. I'm so excited to continue. It's fantastic. I loved it so much. And this completed the challenge of reading a book with green on the cover. There's like a little bit of green. It's mostly teal, but like if you can see like a little bit of green. Moving on to the final book that I read for the Booktubeathon redemption period. And that was Return to Isle of the Lost by this person. This was more of like a kind of fun read. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars just because it's an easy read for me. It completed the coin toss challenge, which was where I have 2 books as a selection, and then I toss a coin to see which one it was. Returned to Isle of the Lost one, and I ended up finishing it, so that's a good thing. As for the books that I did not complete, these are the 3. The first one was The Bells by Danielle Clayton. A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline. That's the last name. Feel free to try it out if you want. I'm not going to. And then, of course, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, which y'all know I'm going to read this at some point. It's Harry Potter. Why the hell wouldn't I be reading it? But, yeah. That's all I really have to say about this. I think I definitely did better for my redemption period compared to the other 2 readathons combined, pretty much. It was definitely a different reading experience and mental experience for me for these readathons. Because of my stress that I used to have for these readathons, the fun would go away, and I would just be left with disappointment at the end. This time I kind of realized that I needed to get over that sort of mindset of thinking of myself as a failure, and like thinking that like, oh, so many other people can read more than me, and like they're better at that, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I mean, am I the fastest reader? No, I'm not the slowest either. I just decided to stop stressing about it so much and just read. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you for this video. Let me know in the comments below how your readathons went, if you competed or participated, I guess, in either one of them, and if you were able to do any of the video challenges or anything like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye. Over that sort of state of mind, I guess, or mind palace. That's Sherlock Holmes.